Hello, world. What is up? Welcome to Build at Home. I'm your host, Matt Forte, and I'm coming to you from my home, as is our next guest, who I'm beyond thrilled to talk to. But first, before we get started, something incredibly important. Kids in need have missed more than 704 million meals due to school closures. With NoKidHungry.org, we're helping schools and community groups find new ways to feed these kids, but we need your support. If you're watching this and you happen to be someone in a position to give a little bit, because I know it's not the case for everybody right now, but if you are that person, then I'd urge you to take a look at nokidhungry.org, see all the amazing work that they're doing over there, and help us feed these kids. All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. Let's get the show on the road. For nearly 3 decades, our next guest and his band have been a perennial presence in the annals of rock music. Their newest album, The Kingdom, is due later this year, but you can catch the video for their latest single, Flowers on a Grave, right now. Please welcome to the show the lead singer of Bush, the great, the one, the only Gavin Rossdale. Everybody, Gavin, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. Like I said, I'm as close to as one can be normal right now. This is the closest I get, so I'm all right. And thank you for asking. I'm excited to talk about the new music and everything you got going on. But first and foremost, just how are you holding up? How's quarantine life treating you, man? What's it like being stuck inside over there? You doing all right?
Yeah, I think it's okay. It's weird because for us, we're not on the front lines, and I think that when you're dealing with it from the hospitals and the doctors and the nurses and whatever first responders, grocery workers, all those things, they're the ones who are really in it, and I feel luxuriously
Yeah.
sequestered and kept away. So just trying to do my bit.
Yeah, 100%. That's something we've all been talking about is that we're just grateful that we're able to, some of us can still work from home and all that sort of stuff. And just thankful to all the people that are really, really in it and living it out there. Outside of the occasional live streams, concerts that I've seen you do a couple already, how have you been filling the hours of the day? You watching anything? You reading anything? Are you writing music? What's going on there?
Just all of the above. I mean, not so much writing, just
Yeah.
practicing and working and seeing that what's going on out there, and just like everyone, starting
Yeah.
books I'm not finishing, and starting movies I fall asleep in. All the healthy stuff you do.
The usual stuff. Yeah, it's good, man. I've been asking every artist this, and I understand that it may be way too soon to really tell, but have you started to see any of this incredibly crazy, scary time impact how you behave creatively or influence how you approach being creative? Have you not even felt the ability to be creative right now?
No, I don't. I don't. I have a really ancient job, and so my job is just complaining to music and my perspective on stuff with music. So it doesn't really change too much. I think that what happens is that definitely lament just the freedom, the
Yeah.
ability we had to just move around and go on tour and be free in our own lives, whatever we did. And
Yeah.
that's the most jarring thing, is to have that liberty taken away. And also just coming across other people and just hanging out and going to a restaurant, going to a bar, those kind of things that we just took so much for granted.
Yeah.
um, I find that really challenging.
Yeah, 100%. I love the description of complaining to music, which is pretty funny. I've never. You performed recently part of the Together at Home series, and you've done a couple of live performances from home. And I've talked to Jewel and a couple other artists about this. Especially you, man. You've played festivals and stadiums for years. What's it been like doing all these at home concerts now and having to perform for massive audiences, but through screens? Like, how's that been? Is that weird?
Well, I mean, wasn't even performing to anyone. I mean, just performing out into the ether, into the camera,
Right.
like talking now. So just sort of in this isolated sense. But really, I mean, pretty darn easy street, really. Obviously, we live off of applause. We like applause. So weird to not have applause, but that's okay. Probably good for us to perform and not have that for a minute. So yeah, it's been. I mean, literally not a problem. I found that when I've done the live ones, I've done shows where I do like 5 songs in a row, and you kind of get through, and that's okay. And then I'm in the middle of one now. I'm just meant to send some stuff to England for a online magazine there, Kerrang. And
Oh
it's funny
yeah.
when you get the chance to stop the video. I'm doing it all the time. Like, I don't like that song. Stop again. So that's been a bit sort of humorous for me. It
Yeah.
takes me a bit longer like that, but you know, I mean, is this the new way? Is this what it's going to be? Going to tour like this now. Going to do a tour of my house. This is me from the kitchen, and now I'm going to sing the encore from the bathroom,
The
and
bathroom.
finish
Yeah.
up in the hot tub. The last final encore is in the hot tub.
Yeah, it has to be. Where else? How do you end a show if not in the hot tub? I can see the T-shirts now with all the dates, the timestamps, and the different rooms.
It could be
Uh,
good actually.
I think so. I think we're onto something. Were you always like that? You talk about like now that you can see the video and you can go back and like, well, I don't like that one. I want to redo it. Whenever you've produced your music and worked in the studio, have you been that way as well? Sort of a perfectionist and taking those opportunities when you have them to, I don't like that. I'm going to redo it. I'm going to redo it.
Yeah, I have a punitive superego, so therefore I'm always looking to repair and get things right, and I don't see any problem with perfectionism. Is just simply a system to make you better. You know, no one ever
Yeah.
gets perfect, so you just aim for better.
Right. Well, I ask all of those, performance questions on the heels of I was revisiting and watching you guys released a couple of days ago a trailer for this live in Tampa Blu-ray that you've got coming out, and it's just there's something so surreal now of watching like huge live performances and concert shows recontextualized with like the world that we're in. Have you guys talked at all about like what do you think shows are going to look like when this all comes back and when we get to the other side of this thing? Have you guys started those conversations yet of like what does this show
Absolutely.
even look like now?
Well, I think we're going to get to finally play stadiums. Even if we're going to play to 10,000 people, they'll be in stadiums with clearly demarked lines and masks
Yeah.
for everyone and temperature taking booths and I don't know. It's the weird thing I think about it is that music is the first thing that people turn to provide the soundtrack for whatever they're going through.
Mm.
And ironically, we're going to be the last. So that this pandemic's going on and people are freaked out, and so they play music and they have freedom with that. But then, unfortunately for us musicians, I don't know when we're going to be able to play live again. And
Right.
I personally, if it's within a year, I'd be shocked.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it really, life is going to come back to normal. It has to, but I think that the live recording and getting together is going to be the final piece
Right.
of the puzzle.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes me sad. That's a bit sad for me because I do love it. But, my non touring loss is my kids' gain. So they'll be like,
Right.
yeah, dad's home forever, whole time.
How are they doing, man? It looks like you're holding up decent enough, and the kids are doing all right. How are they handling all of this nonsense?
They're good. They spent the first couple of weeks with me, first 2 weeks with me, and now they're holed up on a ranch in somewhere in Oklahoma. So
Nice.
they are safe and
Good.
sequestered. So that's the main thing. And that first couple of weeks was quite difficult to do my work and quite difficult to do anything outside of what they needed, which is fine by me. But
Yeah.
then as we share them, they went to the other side, and I was free to record and sing.
Nice. You mentioned just prior to this about music having sort of therapeutic abilities. It's what people turn to. You just released through Spin, I think it was, this really great "Don't Go Outside" playlist with a lot of awesome music in there. Is there an artist in particular or a record specifically for you that over the years you've consistently gone back to as sort of like a security blanket or like a spot of comfort? Like you could always trust this artist to be there or this record to do it for you.
Yeah, loads. I
Yeah.
mean, it can go from System of a Down to Bob Dylan to Patti Smith,
Yeah.
REM,
Mm.
Radiohead.
Yeah.
You know, I really like that Oclu, which is who's a French DJ remixer, and he's amazing. I get lost to his stuff. I really like kind of twisted, broken R&B.
I
Weirdly
like
enough,
that. Yeah. Very,
I
very
mean, I
cool.
really like that. I really don't like the traditional R&B. That's not my bag at all.
Yeah.
But they're kind of, tricked out, broken, smashed up Oclu.
How'd
Shit.
you come upon that and get exposed to that? How'd you find out that was something you were really into?
Um, well, I suppose just you can go into these deep holes. I use Beatport. Um, I haven't done for a bit, but I used to find a lot of interesting weird mixes on Beatport.
Yeah.
I love going in deep holes on streaming services, and I suppose it began with Pandora, where you put in one song and then you get in those algorithms of that world.
Yeah.
And I love going way deep. And there's one girl, Poppy, who, in fact, that song "Don't Go Outside," which feels like it was written for the pandemic.
Right.
I've been enjoying her a lot, and it's a really nice mixture of cool, interesting, breathy vocals with like super hard music.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great
For sure.
combination.
Yeah, she's on that playlist, as is, like I said, a lot of other great stuff. Well, we're not done. We got a bunch of other stuff that we're going to talk about, but just again, I'm super excited to hear that you and the kids and everybody are doing all right and hanging in there, man. That's what matters these days, and I'm happy to hear that. And thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing what's going on around there. Let's talk about some of this new music you got going on. The video "Flowers on a Grave." The video is fantastic. It appears as though it's all sort of in one take, which I
Hmm.
assume some of that's got to be some editing, but a lot of it looks like it was done on set in camera. How
I
much
don't
of
think we
that
don't
was?
have the budget anymore to do cuts in a one take video. You know, it doesn't we don't roll at that. It's not the '90s anymore. There's no, there's no. Oh, do I get to keep this $7,000 wardrobe selection I've got? Yeah, absolutely. Now it's like, can you bring 4 T-shirts and have you got anything in red? Oh, okay.
Yeah, all right. I'll take a
So
look around the house. I'll see what I got. Did you guys
yeah,
do that all? Was that all done in camera, or a majority
yeah,
of that? No
yeah. No,
way.
it's all a whole thing. I mean, the whole thing I think is one take. I mean, there was talk of one shot when I come through the mirror that
Yeah.
maybe that could be an edit point, but I don't know. This is the same guy I've worked with for a long time, Jesse
Mhm.
Davey, and he he doesn't. I don't really change any of his edits. Ironically, in this video, there isn't an edit, but so I don't change much in his work. So he sent the video as it is, and I was like, "That's amazing." And he's
That's
like,
it.
"Wow, okay, yeah." So we did rehearse it. When I heard it was a one take video, I couldn't help it. The kind of lazy school kid in me was like, "Oh, great, we'll be like 15 minutes on the video set." And I was wondering, I was planning my night, what I was going to be doing after the video. And we rehearsed got there at 4. I think we rehearsed like 6 until 10:30,
Wow.
and then we shot from like 11 until
My God.
4:10 in the morning.
It's a long day.
And it's a long one, but it was a lot of pieces, a lot of great energy from different sources, and being the singer and guitar player in the band, I don't want to. I can't complain. Other
No.
people were there, who putting so much into it, and they don't get nearly as much out of it. Because that goes for me forever, and they move on and go light something else. So it's. I'm always mindful of that. I don't
Yeah.
like complainers on sets. I've done lots of movies, and my first movie was an ensemble cast called a movie called The Game of Their Lives, and I just saw the biggest um, madness and confusion and hilarity, and it really taught me so much about being on a movie set, which is that same as a video set, same as a TV set. It's a small part of a big, big
Yeah.
organization. Just know your lines, know your job, shut up, don't complain, and don't bitch about anyone.
Right.
Because you just hear people bitching and moaning about everyone on ensemble pieces, and it's amazing. So I learned a lot off of that movie, basically of how not to be in a most hilarious way.
That's an important thing to learn, man.
Yeah, it
Does it
really, really
feel?
is.
Does it, when you're doing something like the one take, and you guys have practiced that and all that, and there's so many moving pieces, and it's kind of like this Rube Goldberg esque domino effect. Each thing affects the next. Does it almost feel when you're filming it like a live theater piece, like its own live performance, because so much has to
It
happen?
feels like you get to the 3/4 in, and you just think in your head what the next part is, whilst another part is going, "Don't fuck this up."
It's all you're hearing.
Slight. Well, it's a slight. You can't help it if you're like
Yeah.
sixth take in, and like the wheelchair has to hit you perfectly to hit the downbeat of the next section to going in. You're willing that, then they're passing. All those
Yeah.
different pieces that you had. The Chelsea, the beautiful dancer that danced with me, she'll do this like flip, and it's has to be quite close to me, and then dancing around me. So there's all these like mini milestones that you're aware of that you want to get right, and yet at the same time you want to be free and loose and not
Yeah.
not overthinking your part in it,
Right.
and not taking yourself out of the moment. But you're a bit like let me get that right. Can I pull the doors right? You know, those things. You just know the beats you're in, and it's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah,
You just kind of
so,
have to feel it.
yeah.
Well, the video's amazing. The song's amazing. I was reading something really interesting that I think I understood this right. It's one of two songs that weren't a part of the original sort of vision for this record. You had written it, it was done, and you submitted it, and then like you were told, hey, we want two more songs, and we got this song, and then the title track for the record as well came out of that. Is that did I
Yeah,
get that right? Is that kind of the chain of
that
events?
is it. That is it. I got Jimmy Iovine. Jimmy Iovine created this Jimmy Jail scenario where you put in a record, you deliver a record, and then just before you're going to bring it out, they go, and how about two more songs? And it's just a record company standard thing, and it's incredible because it really, your ego takes a beat down, and you can't believe this happening, and yet at the same time, there's part of you that says they could be right,
Right.
and then another part goes, oh man, if I deliver something really good, I'm going to prove they're right. And so it's a really good lesson in humility
For sure.
and perseverance, tenacity, and not taking things personally.
Right.
And which, of course, everyone finds really difficult. And so for 2 days, I was really mad about it. But I think there was something beautiful in it because it just gave me a chance to do something else, you know. And so I sat down in my bedroom here at my house because I gave up my studio
Mhm.
and wrote a song using my old drum machine, a guitar, and just sat there and just did it. And it was a fun experience. And then the other song, The Kingdom, that yielded the idea of what the whole record encompassed. So
Right.
I suddenly got this epiphany about this place called the Kingdom, which is a place for like-minded individuals, a tribe, a mentality, a mindset, free of judgment, free of hatred, free of self-righteousness, which I thought was really the pandemic that we previously were suffering from.
Right.
And it really encapsulated that to me. And it took the whole thing of me being in this counterculture world, this different world of rock music. And even though people say no one cares about rock music in the way they used to, in some ways it's definitely not the mainstream. But then you go to play to, 300,000 people a summer. So you go, some people like it.
Yeah.
So it's weird that then we came into this true, real, grotesque pandemic that we're in at now. And one thing that people kept on talking about is what will we be like when we return? Are we full of um, redemption? Have we forgiven each other? Have we forgiven ourselves? Who are we now? And so it really played into that. And so it just further bolstered this whole idea of a kingdom as this mindset place that I want to
Yeah.
meet everyone at, when this is all said and done.
Yeah, I was reading about that story and sort of the inspiration behind it, and how it was very much a reaction to the world as it was at the time that you wrote it. So it's like for me, I'm can't wait for this record to come out because I'm curious to see how all of that sort of sits in
Yeah.
this world now, right? And like sort of
Hmm.
recontextualized by everything that we're going on, and just sort of what space it sits in now, and just how those lyrics sort of through this lens, what they turn out to mean now. I'm really excited for that. I
Yeah, because what
imagine.
it is really
Yeah.
is that they absolutely will resonate.
Hmm.
And what it is that you hope the greatest thing could happen is that we remove the film, the diffusion that we had over ourselves, and we go back to a more uh, primal, appreciative state of mind that we probably got lost in the shuffle
Yeah.
of social media and success and climbing whatever ladder we've put in front of ourselves, work wise and career wise and socially, and all those things that lead us down bad paths of insecurity and disillusionment. It'd be fantastic to have people at our shows who get to know this record and take to heart
Yeah.
the idea that since we're in it together, we might as well be cool to each other. And since we're in it together, less terrible to each other would be
Yeah.
an incredible form of progress.
For sure. I gotta wrap things up, and I gotta let you go because you're a very busy dude. You got other stuff to go finish and work on, and I respect that. I want to thank you for taking time to hang out with me, man, and talk to us on our
No, I
show
enjoyed it.
today.
Thank you so much.
It's so nice to have you here. I want to remind everybody, "Flowers on a Grave." The single's available now. The video's out there right now. Keep an eye out for the Kingdom, which is coming a little bit later this year. And again, this is all great, but super happy that you're doing well. The kids are doing well, and everybody's safe. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here, Gavin?
No, no, I look forward to seeing everyone in real time, real life when we're back out there, and you know, you'll be safe out there.
Same, man. I can't wait to come see a show when this all blows over. Thanks again, wherever you guys are. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us. Make some noise, even if you're just sitting in a room alone, and celebrate Gavin Rossdale and Bush here, man. Thanks, everybody.